Hello everyone, it is Dylan from Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, back with another video. This time, I will be analyzing in depth the 6th opening and the 6th ending. I was going to do it in separate videos. I decided to just make it one video altogether, mainly because there's a very interesting picture that a lot of people have sent me that I've seen on Twitter, and people have sent it to me directly, that you have to really watch the opening and the ending to put the whole pieces of it together. And I'm going to show you that picture in the very beginning, and then we'll go in order through the whole opening and through the whole ending. If you guys want to see my reaction to the opening and ending, you can find that in the description. If you also just want to watch the opening and ending, and maybe you haven't seen it yet in HD, that will also be in the description as well. So anyway, guys, let's get right to it. There will be spoilers in this video, obviously. I'm going to be talking somewhat about the 126 cast list, because there are characters that appear in this opening and ending that might be the people that are going to appear in 126, that are going to debut in 126. So that's just a warning for you guys that there are spoilers, a courtesy warning in this video. Anyway, let's get right to it. I really hope you guys enjoy. So here's the picture I was referencing. We can see two characters cross over during the Leo Akaba scene right after they show the 4 U-boys. We see these characters, the outlines of these characters, and if you look on the right side of your screen is the ending. When they show the 4 U-boys and the 4 bracelet girls, we can see the outline of these characters that are the bracelet girls and the U-boys are in. So this pretty much confirms that they were one person at one point. I mean, you have to believe that before the dimensions got split up. And here's the names that we've gotten. We've gotten 2 new names that are going to be in 126, Zark and Ray. And I'm starting to believe that maybe Zark is not the demon that I thought he was. Like, I thought he was going to be the demon duelist. Maybe Zark is, even though Zark does have the name similar to Zork, so maybe the person on the left, the U-boy, the guy silhouette, is not Zark. Maybe we haven't gotten his name yet. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm starting to think that maybe the final duel is going to be these 2 characters, the ones that we see the silhouettes of, versus the demon duelist. And maybe that is Zark, or the darkness. And that would be really cool, because we basically have, it's kind of similar to how Shark and Yuma defeated Don Thousand. It's not uncommon to see a 2v1 duel at the very end, because Zexal did it, or to defeat the main darkness, or villain I should say. Zexal did it last show, so they're definitely not shy from doing that as a gimmicky duel down the road. Now here's why I would like that a lot, because it would almost be like an 8v1 essentially, right? Where you'd have all 4 bracelet girls in one body and all 4 U-boys in one body. Maybe they would interact even during the duel and talk strategy, or just talk about whatever they would be talking about. Technically, it's a 2v1 duel. Realistically, it's like an 8-on-1. So I think that would be really interesting. So I think Ray is probably the girl name. Of course, you know, we go back to the picture with Revival Zero and Zark's name shows up. So wouldn't it make sense if Zark is the guy? It kind of would. So I'm not really sure about that, but I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. But I'll get more in depth on why I think it might be a 2v1 duel at the end, and it has to do with a scene we see in the opening. But we're gonna just go scene by scene, and the first scene we see is like a weird neon lights, and it's like, it almost looks like a construction site, and all 4 U-boys are on their respective pedestal. That's the first scene that we see in the opening. Then it shows Yugioh with the word pendulum. Obviously, that's his summoning method. Yuto XZs shows his ace monster. Yugo Synchro shows his ace monster. And then Yuri Fusion. And I was looking, and I was hoping that it would show a dragon that wasn't Star Venom. But this dragon does appear to be Star Venom. I thought that would have been a really cool thing for the opening to do, but they didn't do it. So maybe this is his ace monster. Now, it's interesting because Yuri is the only silhouette that goes dark. You can see him go dark, and we almost see that same outline, because now the screen's going to pan up, except the eyes are a little different. And this is the most interesting scene to me, and Rarity Fangirl sent me an interesting theory, and I've seen an interesting theory about Leo Akaba. And look at the cards that Leo Akaba is holding. He's holding 4 cards that look like magic. To me, I don't really know what these cards are to represent. I'm going to read you the theory that's floating around that Rarity sent me. This is not my theory. I'm just going to read it to you. It's very quick. It has to do with what might be on these cards. This theory is actually from Dark Zoru 100's Tumblr. And here's what she or he had to say. So I got curious about the cards Leah was holding in the new opening, decided to take a closer look at them. I made a horrible mistake. Why, you ask? Because they're not normal spells. They have a symbol on them. The first one was the most clear to make out, and it looked like, and she blew up the image right on the site, the picture you're seeing. Zark and Ray might be ritual users after all. The original dimension might have been the ritual dimension to some extent. So why am I saying I made a mistake? Because look at the facts that are in front of us at the moment. Leo is holding 4 ritual spell cards. There are 4 Yus and 4 bracelet girls, but he only needed the girls for his plan. He didn't want the girls to be harmed since he needs them as tributes to summon Ray, and now he has them all under his control. They won't fight him. They will gladly be those tributes. Well, I'm scared to see the next batch of spoilers. So, again, I don't know what to make of that theory, because I don't really see where she's saying they're not normal spell cards. Maybe in the comments below someone can clear that up, and maybe after like the first 2 comments I'll say, oh, that's what's being meant there. Because to me, they do have a weird image on them, but that's an unnerving thought to think that, and he is holding 4 of them, to think that he is going to sacrifice these 4 girls. And remember, I said that there could be a human sacrifice element involved. I said that when I did my 5th in-depth analysis, the 5th opening in-depth analysis. So it's not that I think that's a crazy out-of-the-blue idea. That's definitely something that's possible. And I think that that theory is very interesting, and it's very nervy to think that these 4 girls might have to be sacrificed in order to bring out Ray, because we haven't seen any issues with them. And then it's interesting because we have the pendulum swinging, and we have these 2 silhouettes. I've already talked about them, but here's why I think that it might be a 2-on-1 duel at the end, because look at the darkness that's behind Leo Akaba. It's not the same darkness that came from Yuri, because Yuri had purple eyes or blue eyes, I forget which one, but it wasn't yellow in this same opening as seen before. And the reason Yuri might have had those eyes is to symbolize that he is currently evil, and he is currently like the most corrupt out of all 4 U-boys. Here it's almost like Leo Akaba is being possessed, or maybe this symbolizes the darkness that he opened. He said in the preview of 126 he opened Pandora's box. Maybe that's the symbolism there. But we have, the important thing to note is we have 3 different entities. We have the guy silhouette that's all 4 U-boys make up. We have the female silhouette that all 4 bracelet girls make up, and then we also have a 3rd entity here, not including Leo Akaba, and that is the darkness in the background, which makes me think that maybe Ray and Zark, maybe Zark isn't even the evil one. That's what I'm starting to believe, but then why is it on Yuri's picture? Maybe it just has to do with the 4 U-boys. Maybe it has nothing to do with this darkness element that we've all assumed. And Zark and Ray are going to fight the final boss, so to speak, and it will kind of be an 8-on-1 duel, even though it would really only be a 2-on-1 duel. So I hope you guys kind of understand why I'm starting to think this, why I'm starting that this is my big theory leaving this opening. But that's just what I personally believe. Also, the pendulum has an effect because it shows the pendulum as the 2 merge, so that'll be interesting to see. Then they're going to show the 4 bracelet girls, Yuzu and Serena. They show Ruri and Rin. I like how they show Ruri holding the birds. They show Reiji and Rira. And then this picture, I don't like the whole element of them showing all the characters' names, but I think this is actually pretty cool. It's the last 4 Lancers, Gangenzaka, Shingo, Sora, and Shun, and what it also represents is the 4 summoning methods, Synchro, Pendulum, Fusion, and XZs. So there's almost an extra dimension to this image and this quick video still, so I like that, especially when you look at it from that perspective. Then after that, you have the pendulum, you have Yugioh running across and Yuzu running across, or Yuzu really floating across pretty much. And the pendulum, again, is just going to have a big fact. And I'll tell you, in terms of the song, the first 50 seconds or so, it's just a little too edgy for me, but once the whole pendulum scene stops and it goes to the, Egao, I actually like the song a lot. It's actually one of my favorite choruses out of all of the Arc 5 openings. It's just the first half I'm still having a lot of trouble liking a lot, but in terms of the chorus of this song, I like it a lot. And here is another very interesting thing. We see Yugioh rollerblading on a weird area. They're above the clouds, and look in the background. This is the first image that we see. It's like a floating city, right? It's a floating city. It's a floating island, and we see more buildings. And what I thought is maybe it was like a revived Heartland, But this to me looks more futuristic than Heartland, and also it's above the clouds. This is a city clearly above the clouds. So I'm not sure if this is a city they're just not going to enter, or if this is maybe a fifth dimension. Maybe this is a ritual dimension, or it was a dimension that existed when all the worlds were one. That's a comment that a lot of you guys said. Maybe it's a revived world. Because this image when the dragon is in the air and you have Smile World going around, this looks somewhat like Heartland. But again, I just don't think it is. I really don't think it is. And it would be a revived Heartland, keep in mind. So I really think that it's either one of four things. One, it's a place we're not going to see, and I highly doubt that. Two, it's a pendulum dimension. Three, it's a ritual dimension. Or four, it's what the worlds look like when they are all brought together and they're one world. That's, to me, the four options it can be. So you guys let me know what you think is the most likely of those. Once this scene ends, we see Yugioh, and this looks like the same area he was in from the very first opening, so I like that nod. I mean, it's almost the same exact aesthetics in the background. And then we have all these characters. I was trying to look. We see Jack Atlas and Crow together at the beginning. We really see every character. I'm sure there's a character on here that we probably have come across that isn't on here. In fact, and please let me know characters that you don't see in this that we know. A couple characters that I know we haven't, that we've come across that isn't in this image. Sergey, Barrett, there are quite a few. Really the villains. Leo Akaba. Interesting enough, that clock guy, the Tyler twins are there, but the clock guy is not. So that's interesting, even though I think those three characters are irrelevant at this point, which is kind of a shame, but it is what it is. And then we see Yuya, whether they're being entertained by Yugioh or Yuya, who knows. Yuya takes his bow, snaps, and you get all these cool neon lights, and that's pretty much it. It's Showtime is on top of the two buildings. Enjoy it now, which is a line from the first opening. So I like how this gave a lot of kind of tribute to the very first opening of the show. But in terms of opening 6, that is pretty much it. So there's definitely a few interesting things. Really, to me, the most interesting things, again, are where is Yuya rollerblading when the chorus hits, and what is going on with these silhouettes. So that's it for the opening 6. We're going to move on to ending 6, and the first thing we see are a bunch of these stars. I like the artwork a lot, and it's a cool way to do it. They've never really done an ending like that before, where they just had artwork instead of clips. It shows Yuya and Yuzu back in Miami City, and that's pretty much where they are. They show two of their pictures, Yuya and Yuzu walking with the kids, and then Yuzu slapping Yuya. They show the dancing hippos, which honestly, as a transition scene even, I'm not thrilled that they showed the hippos. Then they show Yugioh and Rin. Then the best part opening is they have Yuto and Rory sitting on a bench, or sitting on stairs, just kind of, I guess, talking, relaxing. Whether they're on a date or not, I guess that's up for your imagination. And then you just see Shun walking in the background, and at this point he doesn't realize. And then the next image is a very quick image, but it's Shun who has this look of just shock, like this is really what my sister and my best friend are doing today, like while I'm out doing nothing by myself. And Yuto's got this this really worried look on his face, and Rory has no idea why. And that's just a great image. I love how they're almost making Shun like a meme. I mean, it really is. It's just very funny at this point. I do get a real kick out of it. I thought their scene in 124 was hilarious, and the fact that this is now part of the ending, like that's just a joke that's part of the ending, I think is hilarious. So then they transition to Yuri and Serena, and Yuri, it looks like, I guess he's bragging about the professor to Serena. We know Serena doesn't have the fondest feelings for the professor, so she takes a swing at Yuri, who ducks under it. Yuzu's jumping over a fire hydrant. They just show the 4 bracelet girls doing their thing. They show the pendulum, Yuya's holding it. Then they show the 4 girls all in the same pose. They're going to do the same with the 4 boys. There's really not anything here unless I'm missing something. Again, the most interesting part of this ending, some people will say it's the fact that Yugioh has pockets in this scene. I actually saw a lot of people say, Yugioh has pockets? Really? But it's this scene right here. And it's the scene where you're scrolling up and you have the silhouettes. And I already talked about that in the beginning of the video. Then you have this picture, which is a cool picture. Yuri's off to the side. Serena looks annoyed as always. Rin maybe is yelling at Yugioh for getting so close. Yuya and Yuzu are just happy. Yuto is chilled. He's got his arms back, and Yugioh is right in front of the camera, pretty much photobombing it. but I guess he's not photobombing it because he's part of the picture, but you guys know what I mean. So, and then you also have the pendulum. See, this would be really cool if, like, this is how the show ends. Like, this was maybe even the ending scene of the show. I think that would be awesome. And here's the thing. I want to clear something up. And you guys did bring up a lot of good points when I said that maybe these openings and endings were too happy. And I'm not taking that statement back. But you guys did bring up a lot of points that this is going to fit really well towards the end of the show. And it is. The last 3 or 4 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! Usually are very happy. And it's like the threat is over. Now we can just kind of relax and kind of say goodbye to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, which is always sad. Whether you loved it, whether you liked it, or whether you even didn't like it. I guess if you didn't like it at all, you're not sad to see it go. But I mean, every time a Yu-Gi-Oh! Show ends and like the thread is done, I'm glad, they obviously accomplished what they had to accomplish. But it's also sad because it's the end of the show, and these characters that you've been following for 3 years now, you probably will never see again. And it's sad. So if this is like the final image where Yuya has this picture hanging up in his bedroom and he has the pendulum, and this is like the final scene of the show, I think that would be really, really awesome. Now instead of the art where they replace the art style that they used in the ending with the actual characters in the main anime style, I think that would be really cool if that's like the way the show ends, where it just kind of zooms out on that picture. But that's just my opinion. There's a bunch of ways they could end the show, really, that I think would fit pretty well. But I think it's cool that maybe all 8 of the counterparts are going to get to know each other to some degree when the final threat is vanquished. That's what I'm kind of hoping for. That's what I'm hoping this ending kind of shows off a little bit. But there's a lot of questions out there. So that pretty much is going to wrap it up. My opening and ending in-depth analysis. The last one I will do for Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. It's sad, but the show's coming to an end, guys, so let's just enjoy it and hope the next 20, 25 episodes take us on a ride like the last 3, 4 episodes have, because the show definitely is getting very, very interesting. So please leave all your thoughts, all your theories down below. Even if I don't answer your comment, which I'll try to answer as many as I can, I do read every comment I get. I really do, guys. So I just love hearing from you, and that pretty much is all she wrote. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. Have a great day.